When the real estate agent urged my husband and me to transfer the payment for our new home, I suddenly discovered that all our savings had vanished. Under intense pressure, my husband, James Carter, finally admitted that he had lent all the money to his mother. She had taken $120,000 to buy a wedding house for James's younger brother. Seeing James's guilty expression, I merely smiled calmly. "It's just a loan," I said. "Your brother's getting married, it's a big deal. We can endure a little longer." "Sweetheart, are you serious?" James looked at me in disbelief. "You're not mad that I gave the house money to my brother?" I helped James up from his knees and replied gently, "Why would I be angry? We're all family. It's not like we spent the money on strangers. Besides, money can be earned back, but weddings are once in a lifetime." But James started to speak, but I raised my hand to stop him. "Honey, your dad passed away early, and as the eldest, you're practically a father figure. Helping your brother is the right thing to do. Since the house money went to him, I'll call the agent and cancel the plan to buy the home near the school." James hurried to stop me as I picked up the phone. "Wait, if we don't buy that house, what about Samantha's schooling?" "I already asked," I replied. "Families like ours, no house, no residency documents, will be placed in the lowest priority group. If it doesn't work out, we'll just send her to a school that's a bit farther." James grew agitated. "How can that be okay? No other school compares to Jefferson Elementary." I shrugged. "Then what do you suggest? Are you going to ask your mom for the money back?" James's face turned beet red. "The money's already gone. We can't just ask for it back. Maybe you can borrow from your parents? They're well off, it wouldn't be a big deal for them." I looked at him, my expression hard to read. "James, back then, I fought with my parents because of you, seriously fought. How can I just go back and ask them for money now? My parents own a listed company, and James was just a broke guy when we met. Our relationship, completely mismatched, was strongly opposed by my parents from the start. I was the one who insisted on marrying him, even threatening to end my life if they didn't accept it. They were so angry they cut ties with me and didn't even attend our wedding. It wasn't until last year, when I gave birth to our daughter, Samantha, that things slowly started to heal." James let out a long sigh, about to speak again, when suddenly, his mother barged into the house and interrupted. As soon as she entered, she started yelling, "Emily, it's only $120,000. Why are you making such a big fuss? I'll pay it back eventually. And let me tell you, your brother-in-law's wife is pregnant, with a boy. He'll be the first grandson of the Carter family." I cut her off right away. "Mom, I'm not upset. I just told James, we're all family. Consider that money a gift to his brother." My mother-in-law instantly lit up. "It's good that you think that way. Why buy a house near the school anyway? Isn't your current place still livable? And let's be honest, Samantha is just a girl. What's the point in too much schooling? As long as she can read, that's enough. When she grows up, she'll get married, and that'll be that. Anyway," she continued, her tone shifting, "I came here for something serious. Tyler's in-laws invited us to dinner tonight to talk about the wedding. As the older brother and sister-in-law, you two need to represent our family properly, don't embarrass us. I think that seafood place in the south of the city is a good choice. Emily, go ahead and book a private room. Oh my God, that seafood place charges around $300 per person. With both families, it'd cost us at least $2,000 for a simple dinner." James looked uncomfortable. "Mom, that restaurant is too expensive. We're just regular folks. We can find a decent place without being so extravagant." His mom's eyes widened, about to explode. I quickly pulled James behind me and smiled. "Don't worry, Mom. I'll call and make a reservation right now. I'll order the best dishes and make sure the event is perfect for you." Her glare softened as she nodded with satisfaction. "That's more like it. Emily's finally learned her place." Once she left, James immediately leaned in. Babe, that place is pricey. So what about the money? I just got my quarterly bonus, I said gently. I'll take care of it. Hearing that, James broke into a huge grin and rushed to pick out his outfit for the night. At the private dinner, after a few formal toasts, Mr. Anderson, the father of Rachel, my future sister-in-law, brought up the main topic. The wedding house must be within Jefferson Elementary School District. Rachel's nephew will be starting first grade soon, and he'll need priority enrollment. The bride price will be $57,000, plus at least 100 grams of gold jewelry. Also, there should be a separate red envelope for Rachel's nephew, $500 is fair. As for the dowry, he added, we don't follow that tradition. So, there won't be one. The last part clearly meant, you're not getting a single dollar back. Hearing that, my mother-in-law, who had been smiling all evening, suddenly froze. Mr. Anderson, the wedding house isn't an issue, but could we possibly lower the bride price a little? She asked. Gold is expensive now, 100 grams would cost at least $10,000. Our family isn't wealthy, it's hard to gather that kind of money. Rachel frowned and spoke impatiently. Ma'am, my parents already set the number low. They didn't even ask for a car. If you can't meet these basics, then maybe we shouldn't even have kids after marriage. The moment my mother-in-law heard no kids, she panicked. No, absolutely not. He's the eldest grandson of the Carter family, my mother-in-law insisted. Tyler Carter, my brother-in-law, quickly chimed in, Mom, Rachel's requests aren't even that much. If you don't have the money, Emily does. Let her take care of it. My mother-in-law immediately turned to James, batting her lashes exaggeratedly. James, say something. James looked at me, extremely uncomfortable. Emily, you see how it is. It's not easy for your brother-in-law to land someone like Rachel. We're the older siblings, shouldn't we help out? The truth was, Tyler was a spoiled party boy, while Rachel looked like one of those Instagram influencers. Honestly, it felt like divine intervention that he managed to marry her. I stared at James for a long moment, then finally said, firmly, all right. Let's do it. You and I will take care of everything. Even if we have to sell the house, we'll make sure your brother has a perfect wedding. James couldn't believe I had agreed so easily. I knew it, you're the most understanding wife ever. If Rachel has any other requests, just let us know. First, Rachel began, the wedding dress has to be from Simbai Line. I've seen a lot of celebrities wear that brand. Second, the banquet must be held at Royal Grand Hotel in Riverdale. Each table should be no less than $1,500. Third, the wedding planner must be Modern Love, I heard they're the best in the city. Fourth, all the wedding cars must be Maybachs. I get car sick in anything else. She looked at me with sparkling eyes and added sweetly, that's all I've got for now. If I think of anything else, I'll let you know. I hope it's not too much, sis? Just from what she listed, this wedding would cost at least a couple $100,000. Before I could even respond, James jumped in eagerly. Not at all, not a problem. In fact, Modern Love is actually owned by Emily's family. We'll book their most premium package, the Supreme $1 million plan. Whatever you want, just say it, and Emily will take care of it in no time. My mother-in-law stammered, $1 million? James reassured her, don't worry, Mom. $1 million just means we pick a package. And don't forget, Rachel's pregnant with the Carter family's first grandson. Besides, sure, it's a lot of money to us, but to Emily's parents, it's pocket change. Right, honey? Then he looked at me, eyes full of hope. I smiled and said, of course. We're family, only the best will do. Leave everything to the eldest brother. Hearing that, my mother-in-law beamed with joy. Now that's what I call a capable firstborn. Fine then, Tyler's wedding will be your responsibility. Tyler and Rachel immediately turned to shower James with compliments. James sat there puffed up with pride, acting like some kind of tycoon. Before long, he even volunteered to cover the cost of decorating their new home. James drank himself into a stupor that night, while I quietly slipped away under the excuse of borrowing money from my parents. I heard that when the bill arrived, James was passed out drunk. Tyler, too embarrassed to lose face in front of his in-laws, ended up gritting his teeth and paying the entire amount himself. Early the next morning, Tyler and Rachel called, urging me to come quickly to the wedding planning company. In front of them, I told the sales rep, just follow whatever the bride and groom want. Money is no issue. The employee's eyes lit up instantly. Tyler and Rachel looked like they'd just hit the jackpot. Behind the scenes, I quietly pulled the manager aside. Give them whatever they ask for, just make sure it's the most premium package. And Tyler and Rachel didn't disappoint. They listed out request after request, and when everything was tallied up, the total cost surpassed $240,000. They left the place grinning from ear to ear. A few days later, my mother-in-law suddenly showed up at our house. As soon as she stepped inside, she called out in a panic, "Emily! Emily!" James and I came out of the bedroom. "What's wrong, Mom?" She burst into tears. "Rachel insists we hand over the bride price and a red envelope for her nephew right now. Where do you expect me to get that kind of money?" Then she turned to me with hopeful eyes. "Emily, didn't you say at dinner the other day that you and James would handle everything for Tyler's wedding?" I gave her a faint smile. "Mom, just the wedding package Rachel chose already cost over $150,000, and I covered it. Now you want me to pay for the bride price too?" I almost thought Tyler was my own son for a second. My mother-in-law forced a laugh. I know it's a lot to ask. How about this, I'll borrow it. I'll write you an IOU. I'll pay it back little by little." Tyler helped her sit on the couch and poured her a glass of water. "Mom, there's no need to write anything. It's just $80,000, we'll take care of it." My mother-in-law quickly added, "And about the home renovation money, it came to $150,000, right? Just transfer that directly into my account, okay?" James immediately nodded, "Of course, no problem." Then both of them turned and looked at me with great expectation. I tucked my hair behind my ear and smiled. "Why are you both looking at me like that?" "You said it yourself, James, so you go ahead and pay." James froze, speechless. "Babe," he pleaded, "it's not even that much. Just ask your parents sweetly and they'll give it to you. We're family, right? Family helps each other out." I smiled mysteriously. Actually, I didn't get the money from my parents, but they did give me some good news. I pulled a document out of my purse and handed it to James. He took it, and his eyes went wide. "The good news," I said, "is that I'm getting a divorce." Then I burst out laughing. "Oh, relax, it's not a real divorce, just on paper." James stared at me, completely confused. "I went home yesterday, and my parents told me Grandma's old house is about to be demolished. The compensation is divided by how many people are registered at that address. They want me to temporarily divorce you and move my residency back to Grandma's house so we can get 2 shares of the payout." James looked skeptical. "You don't have to get divorced just to change your household registration." I grinned wide. "Yes, technically I could just transfer the residency, but the compensation this time is huge. If I move our registration before the demolition, the project developer will definitely verify everything very carefully. That's why we need a fake divorce, so my residency will be officially separated from our household." "I've done the math," I continued. "If both Samantha and I transfer our registration to Grandma's old address, we could get at least $450,000 in compensation." Hearing $450,000, both James and my mother-in-law gasped at the same time. Before they could respond, I added, "I've been thinking, Mom, why don't you sell the house you're currently living in and use that money to fund Tyler's wedding? Once the compensation money comes through, James and I will buy you a brand new place. How does that sound?" James pulled his mom into the bedroom to discuss it in private, while I waited outside in the living room. After a while, they came out, with a signed agreement in hand. James urged me to head straight to the city hall to process the divorce paperwork that afternoon. By the end of the day, I had officially transferred Samantha's residency to my parents' house. Still uneasy, James kept asking if everything would be okay. I gently reassured him, "Honey, relax. Once the compensation money arrives, we'll get married again. After all, you're still Samantha's father." The money came quickly, and so did the wedding. At the ceremony, Rachel wore a custom-made designer wedding dress, looking exactly like a princess. During her speech, she thanked her parents, her in-laws, and her husband, but never once mentioned me, the person who paid for the whole thing. My mother-in-law, not wanting to lose face, invited every distant relative and neighbor from her old town, people we barely even knew. The massive banquet hall was packed. After the party, the guests couldn't stop complimenting her. She smiled so widely her wrinkled face looked like a blooming daisy. Just then, the wedding manager approached Tyler and Rachel with a clipboard. "Mr. Carter, Ms. Anderson, did everything meet your expectations today?" Tyler, clearly tipsy, slurred, "Perfect. Absolutely perfect." "Great," the manager replied. "Then if you could settle the remaining balance now?" Tyler blinked. "Remaining balance? I thought my sister-in-law paid everything?" "No," the manager replied. "She only placed a small deposit. The rest was to be paid after the ceremony." Tyler sobered up instantly. Rachel froze in place. The once cheerful guests also fell silent. The manager took the mic from the MC and, word by word, announced clearly to the entire hall. "Mr. Carter, Ms. Anderson, the outstanding balance is $150,000. The entire room went dead quiet. No one had ever seen a wedding where the couple was asked to pay in front of all the guests like this. In the middle of the awkward silence, my mother-in-law suddenly called out, "Emily! Emily, where are you?" James quickly pulled me toward her. The moment she saw me, she turned to the wedding manager with an awkward smile. "Just a moment, there must be a misunderstanding." Then she grabbed my arm, dragged me to the front, and whispered with a forced grin, "Emily, didn't you say you were going to cover the whole wedding?" I stood there calmly, my voice clear and loud. "When did I ever say that?" I asked. "Why don't I remember it at all? And why, exactly, should I be the one paying for your son's wedding?" My mother-in-law froze, then grabbed my sleeve and lowered her voice. "Emily, what are you doing? Come on, just pay." I curled my lips into a half-smile and chuckled. "Do you not understand plain English? Your son is the one getting married, why should I pay for it? Do I look that easy to scam?" I turned toward the crowd and raised my voice. "Everyone, isn't this ridiculous? Her son is getting married and I'm expected to foot the bill? We're talking at least $220,000 here. And yet they want an ex-sister-in-law with no blood relation to cover it? That's hilarious." I deliberately emphasized the words ex-sister-in-law. Whispers rippled through the crowd. "I told you," someone muttered, "the younger Carter never had a real job. It's a miracle they pulled off a wedding this extravagant." Another voice added, "She said ex-sister-in-law, didn't she? Sounds like they're divorced." "Oh my God," someone gasped. "She's divorced and they still expected her to pay for the wedding? Even TV dramas wouldn't go that far." Honestly, the Carter family didn't have any respectable relatives to begin with. James's father had cut off ties with the extended family years ago. Most of today's guests were just neighbors from their old hometown, invited just for show. And neighbors like that? They're never happy to see someone else doing better. I signaled subtly to the wedding manager. He, now losing patience, repeated loudly, "Mr. Carter, Ms. Anderson, please settle the outstanding balance. That's $220,000. Will you be paying in cash or card?" It was at that moment that my mother-in-law and James finally realized I had just played them hard. James, furious, lunged at me. You said you were covering everything. I casually stepped aside, and two security guards standing behind me immediately moved in to block him. You really believed everything I said? I said softly. My mother-in-law collapsed onto the floor, wailing dramatically. This is a disaster. We only wanted a small, simple wedding. She was the one who insisted, said marriage is once in a lifetime and had to be grand. She kept saying we're all family and that she'd cover everything. We tried to refuse, over and over, but she wouldn't take no for an answer. We only agreed because we had no choice. And this wedding company, it's her family's. Everyone, think about it. A wedding that costs over $200,000? This was clearly a setup to scam us. With that, murmurs of suspicion grew louder around the room. I heard the company belongs to the Foster family, someone said. Maybe the whole thing was planned, start to finish, to rip them off. A wedding that costs over 200 grand? Come on. That's a total scam. Rachel's eyes turned red as she began to cry. Sis, you were the one who personally recommended this wedding company. I thought, since we're family, there's no way you'd hurt me. I never imagined you'd team up with the company to scam me. I'm pregnant, our baby's almost due. We still have so many expenses ahead, we really can't afford to pay over $220,000 right now. Saying that, she even tried to kneel in front of me. I pulled out my phone and hit play on a voice recording. First, the wedding dress must be from Simply Life. I've seen so many celebrities wear that brand. Second, the banquet must be at the Royal Grand Hotel, the best one in Riverdale. The minimum per table should be $1,500. Third, the wedding planner has to be Modern Love. I heard they're the best in the city. Fourth, all the wedding cars must be Maybachs. I get carsick in anything else. I turned to Rachel with a mocking smile. Didn't you make all those demands yourself? Rachel snapped back, but didn't you say you'd cover everything? I tapped another recording. This time, James's voice played loudly. No worries at all. It's perfect, Modern Love is actually my sister-in-law's company. Just choose the most expensive package, the supreme one. It's $1 million deal. Anything you want, just ask, Emily can handle it in a snap. I let out a cold laugh. So just because you all said a few nice words, I'm supposed to cough up over 200 grand? Shameless. Seeing the situation spiral, Rachel's parents quickly grabbed her and tried to slip away. Let's go. This wedding is off. They can handle their own mess. I raised my hand and stopped them. Trying to leave? Not so fast. You can go after the bill is paid. The contract was signed by Rachel and Tyler. Until the full invoice is settled, no one is leaving. Rachel's father frowned. We don't have the money. I narrowed my eyes and spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. No money? Really? You took $57,000 in bride price, 120 grams of gold, and a $15,000 red envelope for Rachel's nephew. And just as you stepped out of the car, you pocketed several more envelopes, at least another few grand. Now you want to call off the wedding and not return a dime? Rachel's father stood frozen, clearly unwilling to pay. The crowd, previously just eavesdropping, began murmuring in shock. No one had ever seen a wedding with demands and drama this outrageous. Sensing the shift, the wedding manager subtly pulled out his phone and pretended to call the police. With a debt this big, you can't just say, I have no money, and walk away. I pointed directly at Tyler and Rachel. Call the cops. These two are going to jail. At the mention of jail, Rachel collapsed onto the floor in panic, grabbing Tyler's arm and crying hysterically. Honey, I'm pregnant with the Carter family's heir. I can't go to jail. Please, do something. Rachel cried. Tyler is just a useless thug, he never handles anything himself. He always turns to his mom when things go wrong. Mom. James. Please, help us. I don't want to go to jail. Tyler begged, practically in tears. My mother-in-law's hands were shaking as she pulled a bank card from her purse and handed it to the wedding manager. "There's $105,000 in here." The manager took it, swiped it through the POS machine, and after checking, replied coldly, "There's still $120,000 left unpaid." My mother-in-law immediately tugged James's sleeve. James pulled out his phone and tapped a few times. A moment later, his mother's phone pinged. $45,000 had been transferred to her via Alipay. I snorted. So James was hiding a secret stash of money. In the end, Rachel's parents had no choice but to pay the remaining $75,000. With so many relatives watching, they couldn't risk letting their pregnant daughter be taken to jail. Once the payment was confirmed, the wedding manager smiled professionally and said, "Congratulations to the bride and groom. Wishing you both a lifetime of happiness." As the guests prepared to leave after enjoying the drama, I picked up the microphone. "Everyone, please don't leave just yet. The real show is just beginning." I waited until everyone sat down, then pressed a button on the remote in my hand. A video started playing on the big screen in the hall, a clip of Rachel and James together in a compromising situation. Rachel's face turned ghostly pale. "Turn it off. Turn it off," she screamed. "Don't watch. Please don't watch." Tyler's eyes turned bloodshot as he stared at Rachel. "You disgusting woman, you seduced my brother?" He lunged at her, hands reaching for her neck. But James punched him square in the jaw, sending him sprawling across the floor. "Calm down," James shouted. "You're being manipulated by Emily. That video is fake." I sneered and pressed the remote again. More clips appeared, clip after clip, all showing Rachel and James together in different settings. Tyler collapsed onto the floor, sobbing with his head in his hands. "James, how many videos do there need to be before you admit the truth? Why? Why did you do this? She was my fiancée." I walked over slowly and knelt beside Tyler, my voice calm and almost soothing. "You're mistaken. Rachel was never your fiancée. From the start, she was nothing more than your brother's mistress. Think about it. With your background, do you really believe she was ever genuinely interested in you? She came to you for one reason, because she needed a father figure for the baby she was carrying. If you don't believe me, ask your mother." Tyler turned to his mother, disbelief in his eyes. "Mom, is what Emily said true? Did you know about this from the beginning?" James's mother was speechless, unable to utter a word. Seeing that she didn't deny anything, Tyler turned to Rachel, his voice low and trembling. "Rachel, say something. What the hell is going on? You said you wanted to be with me." At this point, Rachel dropped all pretense. Her eyes turned cold, full of contempt. "I don't need to pretend anymore. Just looking at you makes me sick. The only man I've ever wanted is your brother. You? What are you even worth? If it weren't for James, do you think I would have ever agreed to marry you?" James immediately grabbed Rachel's arm, trying to stop her from speaking further. He turned to Tyler, putting on a gentle expression. "Tyler, I was wrong. I'll make it up to you. Please, stand up, don't let others mock our family." Tyler let out a bitter laugh. "James, I've admired you my whole life. You were always the golden boy, good-looking, smart, married into a wealthy family. And me? I've never amounted to anything. So when Rachel said she wanted to be with me, I didn't hesitate. Deep down, I knew that baby in her belly wasn't mine. We only slept together once, and I was drunk. What are the odds it had happened from that? But I never imagined the baby would be yours. All of you treated me like a fool, like I'd never figure it out." Just as he finished, Tyler suddenly stepped toward Rachel. She flinched and instinctively stumbled backward, tripping over a chair and falling hard. Blood immediately pooled between her legs. "It hurts. James. It hurts so much. My baby, my baby." By the time they rushed her to the hospital, the baby couldn't be saved. Tyler was later arrested for investigation on charges of involuntary injury. And just like that, the curtain finally fell on this tragic farce. I took my daughter, Samantha, into my arms and quietly returned to my parents' house. It wasn't until I stepped through the doorway that I finally broke down in sobs. My mom pulled me into a tight embrace, heartbroken. "You foolish girl," she whispered. "You argued with your father and me, endured all that pain, and didn't say a word. What were you trying to do, make us worry ourselves to death?" I cried harder, choking through my words. "Mom, I was wrong. I really was. Aren't you mad at me?" She gently stroked my hair, her voice soft and loving. "Silly girl, what kind of parent stays mad at their child forever? You were so determined to marry him, your dad and I said some harsh things in the heat of the moment. But we never stopped caring." Dad, standing beside us, let out a long sigh. "I told you that Carter boy wasn't a good man, but you wouldn't listen. Now you see for yourself, don't you? He got close to you with a clear agenda. Your mom and I warned you again and again, but you never believed us." I wiped my tears as memories of the first time I met James Carter came flooding back. Right after college, I started an internship at my father's company. James was the team lead at the time. At first, we had a standard boss-intern relationship. He was polite but distant, showing no particular interest. That is, until the day he accidentally saw a family photo on my phone. From that moment on, his attitude shifted dramatically. James was incredibly skilled at winning a woman's heart. Whenever I casually mentioned liking something, that item would magically appear on my desk the next day. Whenever he ordered bubble tea for the office, mine was always in the exact flavor I loved. He remembered every single thing I liked and disliked. On every holiday, he gifted me something perfectly suited for the occasion. With James, I felt cherished, adored, and deeply happy. I truly believed he was my soulmate. So when he proposed, I didn't hesitate for a second, I said yes right away. But looking back now, everything between us had gone too smoothly. So smooth it almost felt calculated. I held back my tears and said hoarsely to my father, "Dad, I was wrong. I should have never gone against you and Mom." He sighed, his tone gentler now. "It's good that you realize it. Stay home more. Talk to your mother. She's missed you deeply all these years." That broke me. The tears came rushing again. 2 weeks later, James asked to meet. At a quiet coffee shop, he sat across from me, looking exhausted and disheveled. "The baby. Rachel's baby, it's gone. Emily," he said softly, "I know I was wrong. Can't you give me another chance? I'm still Samantha's father. Kids need both parents around to grow up right, don't they?" I couldn't help but laugh at how shameless he was. Even now, after everything, he still dreamed about getting back together. "You cheated on me with Rachel while you were still my husband. You even got her pregnant. If I hadn't caught you in time, your family would have drained every last drop of me. You used my savings to buy a house for your mistress. Then you expected me to pay for her wedding? And now what? Your mistress lost her baby, your brother is in jail, so you want to come crawling back to me? You think everyone's stupid but you, don't you?" The pitiful expression on James's face instantly vanished, replaced with anger and bitterness. "Emily Foster," he snarled. "You act like you did nothing wrong? I was always the one catering to your moods, trying to please you. And whenever things didn't go your way, you threw your spoiled little princess fits. I'm human too, you know, I get tired." "You're unbelievable," James snapped. "Your parents are so rich, and yet they let us live in a rented apartment." I raised my hand and slapped him across the face. "Watch your mouth. Did I ever beg you to pamper me? Weren't you the one who got close to me just because I'm the daughter of a company president? You thought you could marry into wealth, and now that your plan failed, you're blaming me? So that's why you cheated on me with Rachel?" James was speechless. Right then, his phone rang. "Mr. Carter, this is a reminder that your $120,000 loan on our platform is due tomorrow. Please ensure timely repayment." "What? Loan? You must be mistaken. I never borrowed any money." The caller calmly confirmed his full name and ID number, then casually added him on WeChat and sent over the loan details. James checked everything multiple times, finally realizing what had happened. "Emily Foster, was this you? You're the only one who could have accessed my personal info." I raised an eyebrow. "I'm sorry, what? I don't follow." Back when I was recovering from childbirth, I accidentally saw messages between James and Rachel, and that's when I realized he had been cheating for a long time. I quietly hired a private investigator to track every move they made. So when I learned James planned to use our joint savings to buy Rachel a house, I emptied the account without a second thought. I stood up, ready to leave. James suddenly lunged at me, face twisted in rage, something sharp in his hand, but two nearby men stepped in immediately. Each grabbed one arm and pinned him to a chair. "You thought I'd meet you alone?" I said coldly. I pulled out my phone and called the police. In front of 3 witnesses, James's attempted assault was crystal clear. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison. A year later, James still hadn't changed. He even tried to approach my daughter, Samantha. The result? He was beaten up badly by the private security I had assigned to keep watch. After that, no one ever heard from James Carter again. As for Rachel, after recovering from her miscarriage, her parents accepted a large bride price and married her off to a businessman in his 40s. He was bald, had a beer belly, and a nasty temper. Stingy and violent, he'd shout or hit her whenever he felt like it. Her life turned into pure misery, a living hell.